Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. I finished my live stream playthrough of Avowed and released a review for the game yesterday, and all of that put me in a mindset where I started thinking about what is missing from this game that I would really like to see. Obsidian has already confirmed that Avowed has reached the financial metrics that they wanted it to hit, and Microsoft appears to be happy, at least at this time. So, of course, we don't know how much Microsoft originally wanted the game to sell, but it appears they've been convinced that there is something to this series and that they want to continue it. So, Obsidian is supposedly already looking at DLC and potentially a sequel. In this video, I'm going to go over a few thoughts I have regarding DLC that will be really cool to see. Please leave your thoughts down in the comments regarding what sort of features you would like to see added to the game that are not in it currently. And if you're currently playing Avowed, please also let me know, what do you think of the game so far? Are you enjoying the experience? Here at Slander Gaming, we love the Pillars of Eternity series. There are a ton of videos on it, and I'm going to continue doing content on Avowed. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, definitely hit that like button and subscribe, hit that bell to make sure you don't miss any of my content. The first piece of DLC that I would love to see added to the game is, of course, going to be no surprise if you see my review or pretty much any of the content that I've done regarding Avowed, and that is the inclusion of some of the major mechanics from the Pillars of Eternity series, specifically Chanter mechanics, Cipher mechanics, and shape-shifting mechanics from Druid. Those are all currently missing in Avowed, and frankly, those features are a big part of what separates what you're able to do in Pillars of Eternity compared to other isometric CRPGs. So I would love to see Avowed take the step of figuring out how to put those types of abilities on screen in a first-person view. I think that could be really cool, but obviously it would also take quite a bit of work. So I would have no problems with them making it paid DLC as opposed to just a free update. Hopefully that's something they have in the cards for down the line. The next piece of DLC I'd love to see them do is a photo mode. I honestly had a heck of a time trying to get a good picture of my character that I could use in a thumbnail, so I just kind of gave up on it and instead used some of the screenshots that had been provided on Obsidian's Twitter page. And that's unfortunate because even though I mentioned I do believe the character creator does need to be expanded, you can do some interesting things with your personal character, and it would be cool for people to be able to show the characters off in an easier way. So I'd love to see them add a photo mode so we can make all sorts of cool photos of different things that are happening in the game and share them with our friends and the community. The next piece of DLC I'd love to see them add is something that allows you to actually be in a deer. One of the complaints I had in my review is that you're asked to be the envoy of a place that you've never actually seen, you've never been to, and you've never actually spoken with the Emperor who supposedly you represent. So I would love to see a DLC mission added that is in the beginning of the game and shows you at least some of what a deer is like, what kind of laws they follow, what is really expected of you as an envoy, so you have a much better idea about how to fulfill that role when you get into the main portion of the game. The next piece of DLC that I would love to see them add is more cameos from Pillars of Eternity. Frankly, I was starved to see more people actually show up. There are a ton of connections to the original series via lore books and some tidbits dropped in dialogue and that kind of stuff. But as far as people we know in the Pillars series showing up in Avowed, there's only one, maybe two examples of that, and I found it to be very disappointing. I thought for sure, considering that Matt Mercer had been heavily involved in the marketing of Avowed prior to the game releasing, thought there'd be a no-brainer that at least Adair would show up, but I never found him. Maybe there's another way for you to do things in which he'll come into the game, but I never had a situation when I ran into him, and I was definitely disappointed about that. I would love to see more cameos from some of the characters we've come to know and love. And once again, putting that DLC in for us making a trip to a deer should make that even easier, right? It doesn't have to be something where you're roping these characters into the main story or into some sort of quest that the player is doing. They could just pop up in the palace real quick and we can have a powwow with them, and then we just move on. Even something as simple as that will be super cool. And on a similar note, what I would also love to see is more deity related content. For me personally, the deities are what I love most about Pillars of Eternity. I think the concept is so cool that the deities are essentially real people that you can talk to. All of them have extremely different personalities, extremely different aspects that they stand for and represent, and all of them are really cool. Now, Avowed does have some interesting deity content in the form of totems, and if you collect all the totem pieces, then you'll get to hear some dialogue between a couple of the different deities. But for the most part, the deity they focus the most on is Wodaka, and personally, I found that to be disappointing. We already had a ton of focus placed on her in the first Pillars of Eternity, and then it seemed like even more was put on her in Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, because even though Barath got a lot of bit of content as well, once you got that book that allowed you to talk with Wodaka directly, it seemed like once again, she by far got the most content and development. And I would really appreciate Obsidian taking the time to really allow the player an opportunity to speak with and develop relationships with more of the deities to get them more content. Whale and Rimergan are personally my two favorite deities. I love talking with them. Anytime I have an opportunity to do so, it's always really cool. So seeing them get more content would be great, but just overall, I wish they would deter a little bit from focusing so much on Wodaka and give some other members of the group more time to shine. And that's it. That's my personal perspective on what I would like to see Avowed do in the future and what kind of DLC I would like to see. I would absolutely love to hear from some of you about which pieces of DLC content would appeal most to you. And I would especially love to hear from you if you haven't purchased the game yet because you feel like there's something in particular that's missing. And if seeing that this thing was going to be included or added into the game would all of a sudden change your mind and make you decide, you know what? I really want to go ahead and purchase Avowed. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell. More Avowed and Pillars of Eternity content will be coming soon. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. Take care.